I hate wasted potential in all of its forms. It's always such a shame that it'll exist as a what if. Like for me, I should have been a professional basketball player. I was destined for greatness in the NBA. I was biologically engineered to be a weapon out there, wreaking havoc on the court, with all the mechanical skill of Jason Kidd and a beautiful 3-point shot like Ray Allen. How could I not have been running rampant out there? But unfortunately, I stopped growing at 5'6". Nature had some other nefarious plans for me, so my perfect 3-pointer, well, at 5'6", pretty much any NBA player could block that with their nutsack. So that'll always just be a case of wasted potential. And with that long-winded introduction out of the way, just to set the stage on how much I despise wasted potential, I want to talk about Uzumaki. And by extension, Ninja Kamui. And by extension, the Rick and Morty anime, which I don't think had any potential at all. There was no juice in that squeeze that they were going for there, but all of this falls under Adult Swim's anime catalog that they've pushed out for 2024, and all of them have been a letdown. I'm just gonna say it. Ninja Kamui and Uzumaki had so much momentum. Ninja Kamui had 3 incredible episodes. I would even argue the first episode is close to like a masterpiece. And then it falls off a fucking cliff. Uzumaki's first episode was a phenomenon. People were talking about that, raving about it on Twitter, super excited for the rest because it's a beloved Junji Ito classic that got a super impressive adaptation, finally. And then episode 2 rolls out and it falls off a fucking cliff. And then the Rick and Morty anime, which nobody in the world wanted, nobody was asking for, comes out, has no potential at all, and still just sucks super shit. And all of them share one common thread, one through line. Adult Swim. Now, I'm not really blaming Adult Swim. I actually think in 2 of these cases it's bad luck. The Rick and Morty anime was just a bad idea from the get-go. But with the case of Ninja Kamui and Uzumaki, I don't exactly know what happened with Ninja Kamui. They just ran out of budget after the first 3 episodes, and then it went from like this really high-quality action, fighting, like hand-to-hand fun combat show to like this dog shit bottom-of-the-barrel garbage generic mecha anime they tried. So that pivot was disastrous, and I don't think Adult Swim told them to do that or anything. It was just unlucky that it decided to shoot itself in the face. Like it was a disaster, and I don't think anyone really liked the mecha element to Ninja Kamui. I never even bothered finishing it because it sucked so much ass. It was blowing farts out of crazy straw. And with Uzumaki, I also don't really think it's Adult Swim's fault because there was actually a peek behind the curtain on what happened with the disastrous animation flop from episodes 2 to 4. So one of the producers, Jason DeMarco, made a statement saying, "After waiting so long, it makes sense people would be mad. Unfortunately, I can't tell them who to blame it on, but someone is definitely at fault here, and we all just had to do our best when things imploded. Maybe others would have made different choices. We did the best we could with what we had, but again, a lot of people worked very hard on the show, and I didn't think the actions of just 1 or 2 people should be the reason it never saw the light of day." This was in response to everyone with eyes noticing how horrible episode 2 was compared to 1 in terms of quality and the animation. And he says that a large part of the animation team was dismantled and they were left with 3 options. First, abandon and cancel the project. Second, finish the first episode and just consider it incomplete. And third, the option they eventually chose, finish the 4 episodes as they were and just push them out. Those aren't really easy choices. That's like choosing between poop, shit, and a fart. There isn't really a winning move in that scenario, but I do think choosing to do all 4 episodes was the right one. Because if they only did the first one, I think that would have been significantly worse. I know I would have been much more disappointed with that. And if they just canceled it, I think that would have just been disastrous as well. I think people like myself were very excited to see this, and even though what we got was lackluster after the first episode, it's still a good show. It's just such a shame that it wasn't able to keep that level of quality due to some internal turmoil that must have unfolded. And from the sound of it, it doesn't seem like that was an Adult Swim decision that happened there. So I think that's just another unlucky moment for them in their anime catalog. But for those of you that haven't seen Uzumaki, I do highly encourage you to watch it. It's still a good show with a really good story, and it's a very fun, surreal show about the spiral, the curse of the spiral. But I do want to show you Episode 2, the most infamous clip from Episode 2 to showcase how bad the animation is.
Come back here! Hasanori! Stop right there!
I can't run any further.
Yoriko, you little twerp! How many times is it gonna take to beat some sense into you?
This shit looks like when I used to play with action figures and I'd make them run like foot by foot like that. It is horrible, and unfortunately, episodes 2, 3, and 4 mostly look like that. There are moments that look better. Like, sometimes there are moments where it must have been, like, fully finished, but a lot of the time it just feels very incomplete like that. Like, one of the final scenes of the show is actually just a still image, like a PNG falling downward, and falling I'm using incorrectly because it's not even like anyone's falling. What's supposed to happen is someone is falling down a giant hole, but what you get is a still image being moved downward. It just sucks because the show had such a strong start and it is such a beloved story that it would have just been such a hit. It was so close. If it could have just maintained that level of quality from episode 1, this probably would have been one of the greats of the year. But now it's just a case of wasted potential. I still did enjoy it, and I think a lot of people still will. The visuals are still great. I mean, it's Junji Ito. They at least still got the visuals there. It's just the animation on all of it's kind of trash. You're better off probably just reading the manga at that point. The fucking manga has smoother animation than the anime now. It's just disappointing. These two shows, Ninja Kamui and Uzumaki, I really liked when I started them because they were great. I was glazing Ninja Kamui's cheeks left and right on stream, saying this is probably going to be one of the best anime of the year, you gotta check this out, and then I look like an absolute fucking clown, a fool, when episode 4 hits. And I think episode 4 is also when they brought in, like, AI-generated art during one of the scenes. They had, like, a 45-second streak of just showing AI-generated art in the anime. It was weird. And then it turns into the mecha, and it's trash. So, like, that hurts, because if they had just kept that direction and that same level of quality that they had for the first 3 episodes, that could have been one of the best anime of the year. And Uzumaki, if it had the same level of quality as episode 1, that could have been one of the best anime of the year. And Rick and Morty the anime, that was always going to be one of the worst anime of the year. That was such a fucking terrible decision to even try that. Never do that again. What we got was even worse than I could have possibly imagined for a Rick and Morty anime. I didn't finish it. I already told you I was going to abandon it. Usually I'll finish a dog shit show like that just kind of out of spite and to see if it ever gets fun bad. That one was miserable. Truly miserable. Adult Swim, that was a huge miss. But overall, I do think Adult Swim is going in a fun direction. A good idea of taking shows like Ninja Kamui and Uzumaki and trying to bring them to life. I think it's just unlucky how both of those played out. But I hope that they continue down this path so that 2025 Adult Swim anime is just hitting and shitting hard with no hiccups and delivers some bangers. Because I think, I've said this before, I think we're in the golden age of animation right now. There are so many new studios that are popping up with so much talent that we are getting incredibly high quality productions left and right. Like, just right now, the fall catalog for anime is incredible. Like, we are getting some great shit. So, I'm just looking forward to more coming out from it. And I just wanted to talk about these two shows because it is a shame to see potential like those wasted. That's really about it. See ya.